Imagine if we did all this and you went, oh, shit, I forgot to press record on the last 3.
We have to keep drinking.
Strap yourself in for Keeping It Real with Jack and Ral.
Welcome back, Keepers. This is another episode of Keeping It Real with Jack and Ral, and today we are talking about negotiation.
One of my favourite topics.
But first, a word from our sponsors.
Wild Duck Creek Estate, the best wine in the world. Is that a big claim?
Oh, whatever.
Do you agree?
I agree. It's bloody good.
It's bloody good. How did this partnership come about? There is a bit of a story, right? In that Liam has 2 sisters, Nairi and Bridie. They're awesome women. I know them women well, and they love our podcast. They have been massive fans or keepers right from day dot. So they told Liam about it.
Yeah.
And Liam said, hang on a minute, there's a few things here that are lining up with the Wild Duck Creek Estate brand, and this is what I love. So I say to Liam, so what is it about Keeping It Real? What is it about you guys? He said, well, when it comes to us, I couldn't give a stuff if part of the wine buying public don't like the style of wines we make, which are big, flavourful and textural. Hold that thought. I just want to be known to make products of extreme quality.
That's good. And that's why we're aligned, because we're big, flavourable and textural. And
we keep it real.
We don't give a stuff if not everyone likes us.
No,
too.
we're not for everyone.
We're not for everyone. I mean, bloody hell. You know what? Who wants to be for everyone?
We're for the keepers though.
We're for the keepers.
Those fine.
I don't know what the key to success is, but the key to failure is trying to please everybody.
Everyone. Won't work.
Some people don't like my swearing.
Oh, do you care?
I say fuck off.
That's why I love you. Yeah, keep it real.
Okay, negotiation.
Yeah.
We negotiate every single day.
Very true.
What we're having for dinner is a negotiation.
Yeah.
Where you're going on your next holiday can be a negotiation. Getting your kids to clean their bloody room is an ongoing negotiation. Jess, go clean your room.
Well, message directly there, Jess. Negotiation is critical, and we do it every day. We do it regularly, but we actually often don't realise or don't give ourselves enough credit for negotiating.
Yeah.
But what we're talking about isn't just any old negotiation. We're talking about negotiating for positive outcome, particularly for you if you are somebody who is trying to balance work and life. And I think there's something here for women as well, because women actually need to negotiate differently, Ral.
I know. We know.
You do know.
We're going to talk a bit about that later, but it's something
we both learned.
We both learned at that university we went to that starts with H.
Ends in D?
Ends in D.
Would that be Harvard?
I don't know. Could be. Could be. But this is about positive. So from a professional commercial perspective, it's around how you positive outcomes around perhaps salary, around working flexibly, about opportunities to professional development, 9-day fortnight, working from home. I mean, that's a big one. That's a big one at the moment, is the whole working from home.
Absolutely.
How do you negotiate that going on?
Yep.
So let's talk about that.
Let's go into it. Hey, I think negotiation, it's never too late to learn negotiation, not unlike the last episode that we did around learning. And I know that you have been quite a big influence because you are a master negotiator, but you've helped the girls with a couple of examples of negotiation. Tell me the time that you helped Alex.
So Alex, she was 16, and you do work experience in year 10, so you got to go find somewhere to work for a week.
Yeah. And
of course, I don't know what happened, but Alex ended up wanting to work. She wanted to work for me, and it was like, oh, come on, you're not working for me, but she ended up working for me. So she just followed me around for a week, and one of the things we got to do, it was in November, so we got her to write up all the labels, because when I was sending Christmas presents to clients, so write up all the labels. One of the things, actually, I just remembered that, one of the things, she came to me with a networking event, and it was a networking event you were putting on at Bank of Melbourne. Remember it was
yes, I do remember.
The art gallery?
Yes, yeah.
And so Alex came with me for lunch, and
she did too.
That's about pretty much all she did for the weeks. And unbeknownst to me, you got to sign a contract.
Yes.
And it had
Serious
something
stuff.
about $20 what you'd get paid, because you paid them some each day.
Correct.
So I said $20 a day. Alex informed me later and showed me the contract. It was $20 an hour.
Oh.
And I said to her, I am not paying you $20 an hour, right? I'm not paying you. Anyway, she did the week, did bugger all besides those two things I said.
The mother's
and then
daughter.
It went on for a while and she hadn't asked to get paid. And you know what? I thought, I'm not going to
push this.
I'm not going to prompt her.
No,
If she
child
wants
labour
to,
is a thing in the Dolan household.
It is. As it should be any good household. So after about 6 weeks, she sent me a text going, hey, Mum, when are you going to pay me the $20 an hour for work experience? And I went back going, I already told you I'm not paying you $20 an hour and I don't care what was on that contract. I'm not paying you $20 an hour. And she said something, well, what will you pay me? And this is when I thought, I didn't really teach her anything at work experience because she didn't anything. So I'm going to give her a life lesson.
Well done, Mum.
And I said, I'm not about paying people for their time. I pay people for their value.
Ooh.
And I said, so
Say that again?
I don't pay people for their time. I pay people for their value.
Special.
So I said, you have a think about what value you gave me and then you come back with a price. So I was
Put the ownership back on her.
I was planning to give her $100
right,
for the
but
week.
she didn't know this.
She didn't know this. Well, she probably knew that because I said I'm only giving you $20 a day. And, you know, even though she's not good at maths, I reckon she could work that out. Sorry, Alex.
I was about to say that.
Anyway,
Sorry,
she
Alex.
came back a couple of days later, so she'd probably thought about it. And she said, I've figured out what value I've given you. I produced labels that you'll be able to use for the next few years for Christmas. She goes, I went to a networking event with you and I was the only young person and by default people were talking to me and I've made you more memorable because people will remember that you brought your daughter.
Oh, she's good.
And then she said, so I think that's worth $500. And
said that with a straight face?
Yes. Well, it was a text. So
Text, right. Yep.
part of me was so impressed that she'd actually really thought about the value. I said, I'll give you $400. And she came back and went, okay, deal. It's good doing business with you. But the reality is she went from 100 to 400.
She did
because
well.
she outlined the value she brought to the table.
And she went away and thought about that, but she was a bit creative with it too.
Very creative.
Because instead of saying I just came along to a networking lunch and had a lovely time, no, actually I ended up being spoken to a lot because I was the youngest there.
And it was true. It was memorable.
Alignment with you made you memorable and there's a good chance you got work from it.
Yeah.
Your brand became more significant. Go, Alex. You're a legend. And how old was she when this was happening?
She was 16.
Yeah, impressive. Great skills to learn, right?
Yeah, never too early to learn these skills.
But I think you have to be credited here as the parent in this situation or the person that put the ownership back on her. Okay, so what do you think you did from a value contribution perspective in order to be paid?
Yep.
Maddie was headhunted by someone I knew very well a while ago and they came to me and said, look, we're pretty keen to have a chat to her because she's got some skills and things we don't have and we could see how that could be a real fit for us. So would you make the introduction? And so, of course, I spoke to Maddie and Maddie said, what, really? Oh, and I'm really happy where I am. And I said, that's wonderful. You've been there a couple of years already. Remind me again your salary. And she told me, and again, I choked on how low it was, bearing in mind she was only very young. I said, this person wants you. And that is a real opportunity for negotiation. I say they want you haven't gone to them. And they want you because you have some certain skills and a value proposition that is going to contribute to their business. I said, so we need to talk about your number. And she goes, my number? I said, yeah. So we know what you're being paid currently, chicken shit. And we know what you would like to be paid, but actually it is what I think, and you will need to do your research, Maddie, because I wanted her to also be really clear on what benchmarking was. Find out what it is that, someone with your skills, your level of experience would be paid and maybe push it to the topper end, of that band. So she went away, came back, she just couldn't believe it. Oh, my God, Mum, it's like almost double. And this is how women can be held back if they just sit still, right?
Yeah.
So that was her number. And so I coached her, and by the time she went for the conversation, and it wasn't about the money at that point, it was definitely about, her skills, experience, what the role offered, etc. By the time she got to meet the second person, and then they made her an offer, and that offer wasn't where she wanted it. She was convinced she was going to get what she had researched, and she went back very politely because they didn't know what she was earning where she was, and said, "That's not my number. Here's my number."
Love it.
And she got the role. And it has taught her so much. I have watched her since just be a lot more confident about herself and how she puts herself forward. A, do the research, understand what the benchmark is. B, don't be afraid to ask for the number based on your skills and experience, particularly if people are coming after you.
God, our children are lucky having us as parents.
I'm not sure they say that about us very often, Ral. But anyway, I think they're lucky too.
You know, one of the things we'll probably talk about salary negotiation more. Well, we will, but this concept of going almost like thinking your salary has to go up in incremental, amounts. When what you're currently earning is
no
irrelevant.
indication of your future potential. Absolutely not.
And if no one should be asking you that.
No.
If you're going for a job and they're asking what you're currently on, it's irrelevant.
So I coach on this all of the time. So when somebody asks you that question, I'm jumping ahead, but when somebody asks you that question in an interview or because they want to offer you something, may not be in an interview, you need to respond with a question.
What's the question you go back with?
So the question you go back with is, I'm surprised you haven't thought of this already.
Oh, are we playing a guessing game?
Yeah, we are. So I say to you, so Ral, what's your salary expectation?
What do I say? I say, no, mind your own goddamn business. No, I don't do that.
There's a bit of that. That has no bearing on what you're offering. I'd like to know what the salary range is, please.
Nice.
Now, it takes a lot of confidence to do that.
It does. That takes a lot of confidence.
Quite frankly, it is fact.
Yeah.
What you are earning currently is irrelevant to what their salary range is, and they will have a range or a number.
Yeah.
They have to.
And you know what too? They're probably thinking, wow, they're confident.
Well, a big part of workplace is negotiating things for positive
absolutely.
outcomes, to influence. So anybody who's hiring somebody who can negotiate well is getting serious value.
Yeah.
So I'll just say that again. Let's play.
Okay.
So, Ral, what's your expectation of the salary in this role? Active listening skills are on point again.
No, because weren't you meant to ask me what am I currently on?
What's your Oh, sorry.
Yeah, see? Oh, you
My mistake.
Yeah.
So, Ral, what are you earning at the moment?
That has no bearing on what you're offering me. Is that
correct?
Something right? There you go.
So, but the question is,
you got to. Can I just say that you got to practice saying that because that felt a bit weird.
But it needs to be a question. Okay, so you started right.
Yeah.
So again, so Ral, what's the expectation? What's the current salary you're on right now?
That probably has no bearing on what the salary. I can't even say it. So that probably has no bearing. What is the salary range you're offering for this role?
So answer the question with a question.
Okay, so
what you
really
want to do,
really got to practice it.
Now, if you didn't want to say that has no relevance, if you think that might be a bit too much, you could just say, when I say, how much are you earning currently? You can say, what is the range of this role? Yep. So you actually just ignore the question I've asked you and say, but the point is, the reason why you're not answering is because it bears no relevance to what they're paying.
Yeah.
So answer the question with a question. It happens all the time. I coach on it very regularly.
And, people shouldn't be asking you that. They should not be asking you that.
To your point, it's not relevant at all.
Negotiation, we talked about Harvard before. It was we studied a lot of this on Harvard.
We did. I pulled out my notes that we wrote, because you and I went over this and we were in the work groups together. We met an incredible woman. I think she still runs
the
runs Women in Power executive course at Harvard, which is the one you and I did together. Her name is Hannah Riley Bowles. Google her. Check her out. She's a senior lecturer in public policy at Harvard Kennedy Business School. And she has done a huge amount of research. She actually partnered with Sheryl Sandberg and helped her with Lean In. You know that book that was very famous in the day? Because women need a lot of support when it comes to negotiation. Yeah. So many women don't like negotiating. In fact, I don't know any women, maybe you and I are the exceptions, but that's probably happened over time with experience and confidence as well.
But I think you're right. I mean, just saying that little role play question made me feel uncomfortable.
Indeed. So why do you think it makes us feel uncomfortable? Any idea?
Well, I remember from Harvard, it was it's something about the expectations of women, like the society expectations of women.
Societal biases. You're exactly right. So the idea of women self-advocating and claiming more money for ourselves comes into conflict with the feminine ideal, So there's this idea of women don't ask for things like that. They're sweet and they're nice and, they're there to help everyone else really. And so what it does is it just makes you feel nervous and insecure asking for something when that is not a societal norm, if you will. Again, this is a generalisation. There are some women who have no problems asking.
But the research shows that this is the vast
Correct.
majority of the case.
That is exactly right. That is exactly right. So Hannah Riley Bowles conducted a study and it revealed that people are much less likely to want to work with a woman who negotiates than they are with a man who negotiates. That's men and women.
Oh, okay.
Want to work less with a woman who negotiates versus a man who negotiates. For women, the social costs of negotiation are much higher. There are real potential consequences of negotiation. So we need to get this right. Yeah?
It's so bloody unfair,
It's
isn't
unfair.
it?
We're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't. But here's some good news. Women are actually really great negotiators. And there's been other research done on this, and I studied it because I have facilitated negotiation panels where women are very, very good negotiators, in fact, considered better negotiators than men.
Right.
So in spite of this, Bowles' research revealed that women are actually excellent negotiators as long as they're negotiating on behalf of others. Did you get that?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do remember that.
Women are much more successful when they're advocating for a colleague instead of themselves. And it makes sense, right? So advocating for others fits in with the feminine ideal of the mama bear caring for everyone else around her, us not putting ourselves first, us putting others first.
Yeah.
So before you get the shits with us, keepers, just hear us out because there's a couple of opportunities in this, yeah? So women are much more successful when they're advocating for someone else or something else instead of themselves.
So they're very good at negotiating for their team members and
Absolutely.
selling what the team's doing. As opposed to
asking for something for themselves.
Yeah.
That's right. So the question then, or the opportunity, right, is how women can channel their ability to advocate for others to advance their own careers.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the concepts for becoming more successful at negotiation that Hannah was talking to us about was the think I, talk we. Okay. So think I want this.
Yep.
But it's not about me. It's about others, the greater good.
Nice.
The we.
So you're thinking about this is what I want.
Yep.
But how do I say it in a way that looks like it's the collective benefit?
Correct. It's not about me first.
Yeah.
So this approach means going into the negotiation with a very clear sense of what you want and why you want it. But in the actual conversation, taking on the perspective of the people at the other end of the table and showing them why the negotiation is valuable in their eyes.
Yeah. So could that play out like, say I wanted to go in and I want to negotiate a 9-day fortnight or working from home 2 days a week.
Brilliant.
As opposed to saying I want this because
it'll help me balance my life and get the kids.
I would pick up the kids, I do this. It could be I work best as a leader when I have time to strategize and think. Me not being in the office every day means team members will step up. So is it sort of like that?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. So you position what it is that is going to benefit the organisation or others for what you want.
Yeah.
So it talks about being creative when you think about things like this. Now, I don't think it's actually untrue that people, particularly in open plan offices, do need quiet and space to think, to brainstorm, to strategize. And being at home can be a great opportunity to do that. The other thing is as well, sometimes, particularly with flexible working, there's a lot of people who aren't in the office. So your best work might need to be done on the day that they're in the office. So thinking about the day that you are going to put forward to say, I'd rather work from home these days, not for anything else other than nobody else is in the office, so I'm better off to come in on the day that they are.
Yeah.
And you're still getting your flexibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there may be an expectation you be in the office extra or another day.
Yeah. I reckon you could use that too with professional development.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not about me, but it's what you can then bring back to the team
Correct.
or bring back to the organisation and pass on the learnings. I reckon that's a really useful way to think of it. So I, speak we.
The other thing she says, and you'll love this because this is very aligned to the entire principles around keeping it real. That's the heater whirring away in the background because it's the middle of winter and here we are in the pavilion outside and it's pretty chilly. It's all glass. Be yourself. Stay authentic. Okay, so as a female negotiating, Be yourself. Many women who sense they may be contradicting the feminine ideal will actually respond by acting stronger and more forceful. So I'll negotiate like the men. I'm going to go in there, fists thumping on the table. I'm going to have a deeper voice. I'm not going to be who I am. If that's your personality, then that's fine. But if it's not, don't change who you are when it comes time to the negotiation, because what it will do is backfire, according to Bowles. Yeah, so she says it will backfire. If you start to say things that sound different than who you are, that's a real red flag.
Yeah,
you're not being your authentic self. So the importance of being who you are, but using the concepts of we, not I. And also there's some other things that you need to do, and I coach on this all the time, and I know you know this stuff because you also teach it, but it's very much about being prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to prepare for a negotiation. And a lot of the people I coach, men and women, feel that they've got to be really reactive and really quick, and they've got to make this thing happen. It's got to work and it's got to be done in one go.
Yeah.
That's rubbish.
And it's also part of you when you said before, know your number. That's part of being prepared.
Being prepared, do your research.
Know what the bandwidth is, know what the salary is.
That's exactly
right.
And
know, if you sort of go, I'd be happy to be down the bottom of the bandwidth, that's fine. I would go, well, why don't you at least shoot for the middle?
Start higher. You can always go back.
You can always go back. So that's about preparing.
That's correct.
Part of preparing.
Correct. Important to build rapport and trust, right? You've got to. It helps to be liked, or it helps to be respected when you are wanting to negotiate something at work, or anywhere. In actual fact, it might be negotiating the sale of a car or the purchase of something. If somebody likes you, then they certainly will. You've got a greater chance of getting across what you want.
Yeah. When I speak to a potential client and they ask me what the price is and I tell them, and sometimes they'll go, well, that's expensive. And I go, yes, but you're worth it. And so it's just, making
repositioning it, making it a bit of fun. Now, you can't help but laugh at that.
No,
yeah?
exactly.
Which I like. What you've just said there is also be confident, yeah? So ask confidently. Don't go in with, what I want is 125. But I don't mind if you can't pay that. I mean, don't start telling them what they don't have to pay you.
The other thing too, and this is what I coach people, again, in my position, don't make the decision around budget or salary on their behalf.
No.
Like, don't think, they probably wouldn't pay this. Well, let them decide that, not you decide that.
Absolutely.
So, that's know your numbers.
Focus on the mutual interests as well, right? So, again, that comes back to doing your research. A negotiation is about two parties or more than one party anyway. So think we, again, not I. And the negotiation has to be about, what's going to work for them as much as it's going to work for you. So don't go for position, go for muitual interests.
Yeah. And that's some of the stuff we were talking about before, when it would be like, okay, I want to work 2 days from home, but I can bring the best version of myself because I've got downtime and I'm thinking, Django the dog is really loving this interest. He's going, don't bring about negotiation. Give me a pat.
I need a treat is what he's saying. And this is how he negotiates a treat.
I love the way he just scratches at your leg so you give him some attention. One of the things is about know your non-negotiables. I think to me it's about know what's a non-negotiable and be very strong on that. And the reality is a non-negotiable might be a 9-day fortnight, right?
Yeah.
I don't work Fridays, or I have to take Wednesday afternoon off, or whatever. But know what your non-negotiables are. I don't travel, or whatever it is. Like whatever it is, know what that is, and because I think the fifth one is you might have to make concessions. So make concessions on other things, but know what your non-negotiables are.
I was coaching somebody just the other day. They were going for a role. They were very excited about the role. It wasn't paying what they believed they were worth, and good luck to them for knowing their number. And I said, is it a done deal? And she said, well, I think so. They're not paying that. I said, have you spoken to them about the same salary that they're offering but for a 3-day a week that gives you 2 other days to do something? Oh, my goodness, she said, I didn't think that.
Yeah.
I said, that could be a real option, yeah?
Yeah.
You're going to be efficient because you're experienced. You're going to get it done in 3 days and you'll get the salary that they've got, and that still gives you 2 days to do something else.
Yeah.
So that was what she was going back in with.
I just thought of something then that I don't think I've ever told you, but when
the things that come out in this podcast.
I just think of it.
I'm having a sip of wine, I'm worried.
When you were working, I think it was with Bank of Melbourne, and you'd got me in to do some training for your team.
I used to get you in a lot. You were great.
Yeah, and I think I was like in with them for 2 days or something.
Yeah.
And one of your employees said, I've got to leave at 4 because I'm going for a promotion with Jack, like you, and this is the final meeting about salary negotiation.
Oh, you bitch.
And I coached her and I said, so do you know what you want? She goes, yeah, I think I know what I want. And I go, so if it's less than that, literally say to Jack, I couldn't possibly do it for that much.
Oh,
and
my goodness. You're the reason I had no budget.
When she came back, I said, how did it go? She went, yeah, I said what you said and I got it. And I remember going, oh, Jack's going to kill me.
I'm pleased you never told me.
She not only brought me in to train her team, it probably just cost her another 10,000 in her.
That person would have been worth it if she got the money, and I would have been secretly very proud of her.
Yes,
for doing the negotiation, because
I was very proud of her.
Yeah, well done. Well done, Ral. That is great.
So let's go with tips and techniques, because bloody Django is going to bite your head off in a minute if you don't give him a treat.
Yeah.
So around negotiation, prepare. Absolutely prepare. And prepare is things like knowing the salary range, build rapport and trust.
Yeah.
So, don't make it all serious. And I think part of that's being authentic that you said, be your authentic self.
Agree.
Focus on common interests.
Yep.
So, and not just about me.
No.
As a female, know that especially, that it's got to be about, just laughing at Janko going crazy. Know your non-negotiables, but be willing to make a concession.
Correct.
And I think if you do that, and I think it also comes back to a previous episode we do is know your value.
Absolutely.
Know what you value.
Know your
I think
value.
the
be
equation
confident
we
about
use,
that.
skills plus experience plus future contribution
plus 10%. Well, you said 100%, but anyway.
100%, but that'll do us.
A plus is important.
Yeah.
I agree. So
excellent.
And women are great negotiators.
They
really are great negotiators. So
But
don't start saying you're not. If you are somebody who is about to go into a negotiation, get a coach and pay for an hour to get some support around that.
I mean, you do that.
I do
seriously,
that all the time.
If you think you can negotiate an extra 10 or 15, 20,000,
you've just paid for your coaching
it is
session
worth paying
or the
for
package.
a coaching package session.
Exactly right. And look up Hannah Riley Bowles. She's doing. There's a lot
amazing.
of research around that she's done on this.
We'll put a link in the show notes to her LinkedIn or something like that.
Sounds good. Now, one of the great things, Ral, about the partnership between Keeping It Real and the Wild Duck Creek Estate team is you don't actually have to negotiate as a keeper some really great wine and great prices, because this is premium wine we're drinking. This is not, stuff from a little bottle up the road that's, $12.
Yeah. And like we've said last time, they don't discount, but they have given a very good deal for the keepers. So like usual, get in the website. The show notes will be, or the links will be in the show notes. Get in and order a bottle of wine. We've actually had lots of people contact us saying, oh, my God, I had the Shiraz or I had the whatever, and really loving it.
Keepers have got great taste, that's why.
So keepers do have great taste, because that's why they listen to us. So that's another episode of Keeping It Real with Jack and Ral.
I think we say cheers.
I think we say cheers again to little another episode done. As usual, like what you heard, share it with your friends, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
You've been listening to another episode of Keeping It Real with Jack and Ral. If you like what you've heard, don't forget to tell others about it and give a 5-star review. They may seem confident, but they really are sensitive 5-star needy souls. Yeah, right. Keeping It Real, created by Jack Phillips and Gabriel Dolan. Produced by Keelan Ferrari Brown. And this really real voiceover, spoken by Richard Phillips.